guys. Welcome back to Preview Alliance. This is Sarah.
And Whitney.
And once again, we're here to support you guys through your pregnancy and postpartum journey and give you all the details that we wish we would have had going through it ourselves.
Yes, absolutely.
So, Whitney.
Yes.
Today, let's talk about therapy.
Okay. So, obviously, I'm a big advocate of therapy. I am a therapist myself. And I do have a niche as far as like maternal mental health therapy. That's really where my training has come from. I worked in a labor and delivery setting for 9 years total between 2 different hospitals. Therapy is, you just need to know this, mamas, it is non-judgmental, judgment-free zone, and it's there to help you navigate what you're experiencing. Everybody at some point in time experiences some form of anxiety, depression, potentially some OCD, intrusive thoughts, things like that. So therapy is there not only to kind of normalize what you're experiencing, but helping you get the tools that you need to progress through that and to be successful and to thrive when you're done with that. So just know that therapy is going to be a place where you should feel comfortable and you should feel welcome there. If at any point in time you're meeting with a therapist and you feel like it's not a good fit, or you feel like they're shaming you, or you just feel like they don't really get where you're coming from, you're allowed to choose a different therapist. That is not a bad thing. I tell all of my clients, if you don't feel like this is a good fit, that is perfectly fine for you to find somebody that is a good fit for you. So just know, as a therapist, we're not going to take that personal. We don't feel like you're upset with us or angry with us. We want you to get the help that is the best fit for you. So just know, when I do see a mama for therapy, regardless of where she's at timeline-wise in her postpartum journey, we talk about what she's experiencing. We equip you with those coping skills and those tools that you need. And if we need to dig a little bit deeper into your life history, we can do that. But ultimately, I want to get you out of crisis mode.
Right.
That is my initial goal, is getting you out of crisis mode, getting you to a point where you feel like you can function on a daily basis. And then if we need to dig deeper, we'll dig deeper.
You know, I think one thing with my personal experience is a little bit of my history. I never went to a therapist before I had postpartum depression, and I was in the thick of postpartum depression. And my journey would kind of help inspire Preview Alliances. I had to call for 2 weeks in a row to find a therapist.
I believe it.
Insurance, if they specialized in postpartum depression, nothing against a male provider.
Agreed.
But I wanted a mom and a woman who would get it.
Oh, absolutely.
And so
absolutely.
That's part of why we want to do Previa, is we connect you to the therapist, because I felt like it was everything I could do to function on a day-to-day that struggled to even find a therapist. That was so defeating.
Oh, for sure.
And so I wanted to make sure women didn't feel that struggle, because that's hard.
It is. It's very hard. And again, there's nothing wrong with a male therapist or anything, or a male provider. My OB is a male and I'm very comfortable with him. But at the same time, when you're talking about therapy, when we're talking about the thicks of postpartum, then you know what? We do want a mom. We do want someone that has been there, that has a level of empathy that a male provider honestly just isn't going to have. Not that dads can't experience postpartum depression or anxiety, because they can, but literally they cannot empathize on that physical level.
Right.
It's just not there, and that's not a bad thing or a wrong thing on their part. It just is what it is. But as far as finding a therapist, it's so hard to find someone that does specialize in maternal mental health or in grief if you experience a child loss at any point in time in your pregnancy or even post-delivery. And so it's really hard to navigate that. And then you have insurance that can stop you. And even if someone offers a cash pay rate or sliding scale, that's still money coming out of your pocket, especially if you're on unpaid maternity leave. You're paying for diapers, wipes, potentially formula, bottles, pediatrician appointments. You have all of this money coming out, most likely not much coming in. So why would you think that you could do a copay?
Exactly.
Or, if someone does a cash pay rate of, $50 a session, that's still $50.
That's a lot of money. Yeah.
That's a lot of money. That's at least one large can of Enfamil or Similac.
Exactly.
And when you think about how much babies eat and how frequently they eat, you're like, that $50 could go to some formula or, diapers or whatever. It could go to a physical, tangible need. And you feel like that need is greater than yours, because we're moms. We're always going to put our babies first. But I'm also here to tell you, you're allowed to prioritize your mental health.
Yes, healthy mom and healthy baby.
Yes, you are allowed. I'm giving you permission to prioritize yourself. That is not a bad thing. It is not selfish. Throw the mom guilt out on that. You're allowed to seek help.
Exactly. I'll give you a little bit with my therapy journey. It's just, I was suicidal with my postpartum depression.
Yeah.
And when I was afraid to go and be honest,
Yep.
but that big step was life-changing.
Oh, for sure. And the first step is the hardest. It's really hard to call and make that appointment.
So hard.
It's hard to show up, whether it's virtually or in office. It's hard to do those things. But once you do it, it gets easier.
It felt like 1,000,000 pounds was off my shoulder.
Oh, for sure.
To have someone listen, to understand, to not judge me. I felt like I was going to be judged. I was afraid they were going to take my child from me. I was afraid of what my friends and family would think about me saying I'm going to a therapist.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like there's this old school thought about therapy.
Yes. And unfortunately, I feel like maybe our generation and the generation after us, we're really trying to destigmatize seeking treatment for mental illness. Whereas, previous generations, it was one of those, there was such a negative connotation to it.
Yeah.
A lot of times it was viewed, if you go to therapy, it's because you're court ordered. So obviously negative there. Or you must be a war veteran and you're struggling with PTSD. So again, it has to be this very extreme, severe situation for you to seek out that help when that's not the case.
No.
Yes, therapists are here to help in those situations, but that's not all we're equipped for. We're equipped for, honestly, us everyday people who deal with really hard things in life.
Yeah.
And life is hard on everybody. Nobody has a perfect life. Don't let social media lie to you. Nobody has it all together.
No, we do not.
Nobody's life is perfect. Nobody goes without struggles. And so we are allowed to seek help to process those events.
Well, so with my first Will, I was a traumatic birth, a traumatic C-section.
Yep.
I was awake until, and heard and see, which we'll talk about that in a different episode too, of just traumatic births. But I could not get out of my mind reliving the situation.
Sure.
And I had never heard of EMDR therapy. Cognitive behavioral therapy to me was a new concept as well. Yeah. And I'd started to learn all these benefits of therapy.
Oh, yeah.
I slept better. I was a better mom. I was a better spouse. I was a better friend.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I could handle being cut off in traffic better.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the benefits were crazy. And there's recently a study out that therapy for pregnancy and postpartum anxiety, depression is just as great as a typical antidepressant, which there's nothing wrong if you need meds.
Oh, no, not at all.
It's just I was learning that prevention, early intervention.
Yep.
And you're also equipping moms to do better.
Absolutely. Well, and let's not dismiss the hormonal shift that we go through postpartum. You can have the most magical delivery. Everything goes perfect. Baby doesn't go to NICU. All the things are great. We still go through a hormonal shift.
It's the greatest hormonal shift a human experiences is
100%.
Post-birth. Progesterone can make some people happy, giddy through pregnancy. That drops as soon as the placenta's gone. Oh, bam.
Yeah. We're talking it crashes. And that is why more often than not, you're going to hear moms that struggle with postpartum mental illness as opposed to perinatal. Not saying perinatal doesn't exist. Postpartum, it tends to be more common because in pregnancy, your progesterone kind of slowly builds up. So it's not a shock to our system.
Right.
Whereas postpartum, like you said, that placenta gets delivered, that progesterone crashes on us.
And I'm a nurse. I did not know that.
Oh, wow.
Okay, you'd heard that this is why.
Yeah.
But if you break it down to the hormone effects and what we're experienced, and our ovaries take a while to kick back in.
Oh, yeah.
That gives us kind of balancing hormones here.
Well, and let's think about it too. Our body is focusing on recovering.
Right.
Then you're also focusing on having to lactate.
Yes.
Because whether you choose to breastfeed, formula feed, pump, whatever combination you choose, your body's still tries to lactate.
Yeah.
It tries to produce. So there's a hormone shift right there. And then sleep deprivation.
Oh my gosh. That will be a whole episode of
Yes.
us talking about why it's used for interrogation materials.
Oh, yeah.
But
So-
moms are supposed to just deal with it. Mhm.
Push through.
Yep.
Deal with it. But yeah. So moms, you have to understand there's multiple factors going on. Multiple factors going on. And you're not at fault for those things.
No, we are not responsible for those feelings.
No.
We don't make those feelings. We
No.
can't control hormones. So long story short, therapy we love.
Yes.
We want you guys to be open.
Mm-hmm.
We're hoping that our digital library will equip you.
Yes.
We will make it very normalized. Some of
Oh,
these
yeah.
terms.
Mm-hmm.
Prepare you. We're going to give you awesome techniques,
Oh, yeah.
tricks of the trade that I've learned, that Whitney is an expert in telling us about. That's going to equip you. So
Yeah.
we're here. We're here for you, but we want to make sure we know that you know therapy, we think everybody can benefit from.
Oh, 100. As a therapist, I have a therapist.
Yes. Yes.
Because life is hard. And, we won't go into details, but Sarah can verify the past 2 months of my life have been a flippin' roller coaster.
Constant.
And so, truly, we've tried to meet up at least 3 times before
Mhm.
today. And I'm like, Sarah, such and such came up.
Yep.
I've got to bail, or my child is sick, or what have you. I made an appointment with my therapist, and I'm like, I'm overwhelmed, and I just need to be able to process this with somebody that's not in my family. Not that it's wrong to go to your family.
Right.
However,
so important.
I needed someone who was objective,
Safe space.
safe space. They didn't have a bias. They were there just to be that outside person to say, well, what about this? And I'm
Right.
like, oh, I hadn't thought about it like that. We're there to give you that other perspective. And honestly, again, as moms, especially when we're sleep deprived, we're not going to think of all these different solutions.
It's you can't look past maybe the next minute,
Oh, for sure.
especially in those newborn days.
Oh my gosh, if it's 3 a.m. and your child's been crying for 2 hours, you're just thinking, please go to sleep.
Yeah. It's hard.
It's so hard. And also, your feelings are not bad.
No. Mm-mm.
Your feelings are not bad. You are allowed to feel sad. You're allowed to feel angry. You're allowed to feel frustrated. You're allowed to feel happy. Your feelings are non-moral. They're neither good nor bad. They can feel unpleasant or pleasant. But your feelings in and of themselves are not good or bad. You're allowed to feel your feelings, and your feelings are valid.
Yes.
What you do with them can be good or bad. If you're angry at someone and you haul off and punch them, well, that was not a good choice.
Yep.
But you're allowed to feel that anger if you need to feel that anger. That's not a bad thing to do.
So I tell my 3-year-old all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You can be mad.
Mhm.
It's what we do when we're mad.
Yes.
But we're gonna. I have to teach him, and that's
Oh,
what a
yes.
therapist had to teach me is when I felt these strong feelings.
Mm-hmm.
How do I get myself off that ledge?
Yep.
How do I maybe stop those negative thoughts?
Mm-hmm.
How do I set boundaries for myself?
And that's hard.
So hard.
Especially, again, when you're in the thick of the newborn stage, or if you have multiple kids and sickness hits your house and one of your kids isn't sleeping and the other one still needs you and all those kinds of things,
Mhm.
you're going to be exhausted. You're going to be just at your wit's end. That's okay. You didn't do anything wrong.
No. And I think therapy also is just one of those toolboxes of life that I think as you evolve and grow,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you see your clients
Yeah.
and you see how they cope or what they go back
Mhm.
to and brings up things that maybe we didn't even recognize about ourselves.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
That makes sense why I do X.
Oh, for sure.
And then I have this bad habit of looking at my friends and family and going, oh, that's why they do that. They need this. Totally different story for a different day.
Totally
but,
diagnosing over there.
Probably should stay in my lane on that one. But long story short, we just want you guys to know Previa here to connect you to
Yes.
therapists who are safe spaces
Absolutely.
that get it.
Mm-hmm.
Not going to judge you.
No.
It's going to help you.
Judgment-free zone.
So we thank you again for spending time with
Yeah.
us,
That's what we're
opening
here
up for us, and we'll talk to you guys next time.
All right.